So we talked to you guys on Friday. We talk about separation, rotation in the market. Happens on Friday, and it's happened even more now. More now. What's going on with the small caps? People are throwing in the towel. 4-day work week. Got to figure out what to do on Wednesday. And then we got a quad witch expiration on Friday. So we got some stuff to talk about. You talk about earnings, man. There's hardly any earnings. Let's get things started on this Monday morning. Don't forget, Craig Johnson, 8:35. Hits pre-market prep.
Welcome to Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep.
This is a volatile puppy here.
It's all about execution styles and strategies.
All right, good morning, traders and investors. Ooh, I'm off here a little bit on my screen. Let's take a look at the commodities and futures, and we are now trading the September contract. No, we just didn't jump up a bunch. We are now trading the September contract because the June contract is expiring this Friday. Quad witch expiration. We're down a couple handles at 5,500. The buck flat just above 105 here, 105.15. That's down a penny. TLT, looking okay here, but down 49 cents at 94.17. Crude in the green, 26 cents, 78.31. Gold in the red by 16.30 at 23.32.80. Silver, that's down over 0.5%, 16.7 cents at 29.31. And Bitcoin looking a little tired. Loses that 67K support. Bitcoin up $215, 65,855. And so when you're down on your sports team, right, Dennis? Let's bring Dennis in and AB at the same time. You never know. Old Mo can change jerseys. Is an 8-1 beating of Briboski, sending him into pulling him with a 5-goal lead. Is that going to be enough to get the small caps to rally?
We'll somehow tie this into stock trading, though. Did I tell you? So I tweeted it out on the weekend, but I was playing darts with my brother-in-law on Friday night. I got the new dartboard. I came down there, got the new dartboard, the electronic dartboard. It's awesome. Best of 7 series. I go up 3-0. I'm just rocking him. He's got no chance. 4th game, I don't know what happened, but he just killed me in the 4th game. And then the 5th game was tight. I was up, and then he hit a double bull at the end to win it.
The double bull.
And then I'm down, and then I'm up 3-2. And then he makes it 3-3, and then I just had no momentum. I couldn't do anything, and then he just won the series 4-3. So it's like, well, if he can come back from a 3-0 deficit in darts, the Oilers could come back from the 3-0 deficit against Florida. Momentum is everything in darts, hockey, sports, stock trading. We're bringing it back to stock trading. Momentum is everything.
Did you call a timeout?
I should have stopped and called a timeout. But secretly, I was kind of cheering for him a little bit because I was starting to see the analogy of, like, if you win this, the Oilers can win this. So maybe, I'm subconsciously, maybe I was like not as good as I could have been, but he came back to win, though. So that's it.
All right. AB is going with the Triple D hairstyle today. Okay. So
yes,
looks better on AB.
Good morning, AB.
I'm good. I was actually supposed to get it cut yesterday, and I forgot. For some reason, I don't know why this makes sense, but on a Sunday, like every barber shop, even like Great Clips and stuff like that, close at like 5 p.m. So I was busy yesterday. I was watching the Cardinals game and then the U.S. Open, and by the time the golf ended, everywhere was closed. So I guess I got to go somewhere tonight. Maybe that'll be what I do Wednesday, actually. I don't know, unless they're closed on Wednesday too. We haven't mentioned that on the show, but
yeah, you might be in trouble. You got to come to Canada.
All right,
we'll be open in Canada on Wednesday.
Do they give good haircuts in Canada?
My wife can.
Okay.
She's not bad at it. She's just learning COVID. The first few were a pretty good hack job, but she's getting better at it. Looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I never go in for anything serious. I'm like, just give me like a, 3 on the sides with the buzzer, clean up the top, and then, I'm in and out of there usually in like 20 minutes. So probably I'll check and see if on Wednesday the Great Clips and stuff like that is open.
One more thing. I know you guys hate sports, but did you see those 2 putts that Rory McIlroy missed? Did you
Choke.
see that
Choke.
in the U.S. Open?
Choke.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh my. Not one, but not two.
Pressure, Joel.
Oh
When you
man.
get pressure, we played, sports. I was never any good, but I'd always buckle under the pressure. But I felt the pressure in the dart game. He's feeling the pressure in those putts. I mean, it's pressure. Pressure can affect you. You're always the best when you're just in the flow. You're going, not feeling the pressure. The pressure comes up. Things change quickly.
Yeah, and people were lambasting Rory for leaving the tournament early. He didn't do any media or anything. He just got in his car and left. I mean, hard for me to really have a problem with that, because he's probably just frustrated. Like, I don't know what there would really be to say, but people were upset that he didn't do any media or stay to congratulate Bryson or anything like that. But Rory McIlroy choked. I had money on him. Of course I did. But all right, let's bring it back to the market. That's what's Wednesday. So the market will be closed for the Juneteenth holiday here in the U.S.
I don't get the name still. The holiday I can, but what's the Juneteenth? Like, I don't understand that.
You're so Canadian.
I think because it goes the 19th of June, and this was
Yes.
it's commemorating the day that slaves were officially
Yeah, and
freed in the
that's
United
cool.
States.
That
I
was
just don't
June
know the name.
19th, Dennis. That was June.
But why? It's weird though. Juneteenth. It just sounds like weird. So I think they should have came up with a better name. So I'll take the holiday. That's fine. But I think they should have come up with a better name.
The other days are Jubilee Day and Emancipation Day in Texas, Freedom Day, Black Independence Day. But Dennis,
Juneteenth.
That's what you got, buddy.
The weird name.
You get the day off. I know you're.
All right, we'll take it. It's weird though. Weird name.
All right, so going to the markets, we don't have a lot of big market moving headlines this morning. I think what we got to start with is just go into what's hot, and that is, surprise, surprise, still chips, semiconductors. AVGO Broadcom trading up this morning by $61, and this is really on no specific company news. I mean, there was a upgrade in the space on Micron, but that doesn't. That wouldn't really explain why Broadcom's up 3.5%. It looks like just follow through after the company's earnings and split announcement. Edging closer to becoming the next company to hit $1 trillion valuation. Still a little bit to go, but it is trending in that direction. And I mean, it's just Nvidia's up again this morning as well. It's just people cannot buy enough chips right now.
It's the splits. If there's ever a time to chase a stock, we're not big chasers on this show, but if there's ever a time to chase a stock, it's when they announce a 10-for-1 stock split. Like, if you can just be the fastest person, and the algos are going to be the fastest, but if you can be the fastest human, just get out there and chase when they say that. And you know what? When they said it, it was obviously 1,500, and it was 1,600 in a heartbeat. But you could have bought it that day, that after hours at around 1,600, and you just knew there's no way they're selling it back off. Not with a 10-for-1 stocks, but now it's 1,700. Now it's 1,800. The chase is on. The chase is on. I mean, they chased Nvidia and then just kept going up afterwards anyway. So I mean, if there was ever a time to chase this on stock splits, I don't know if I'm chasing it 200 points higher now or 300 points higher since the actual earnings call, but man, they are chasing the leaders, something fierce, not even just the split stocks, just anything AI. Nvidia goes up every single day. It's crazy.
And they're selling. I mean, they're buying, but I mean, do you see this IW? I know you do. You talk about it. I mean, they're just, is this trade dead? Can we officially bring out the white flag and just say, boom, we just don't need small caps anymore?
I've never seen such a divided market. We see bull markets, and me and Joel have been trading. Joel's been trading for 75 years.
Oh yeah,
Been
the 29
here.
crash was wicked. Oh my
God. The 29 crash was, and I've been trading, since 1996, full time since 1999. I don't remember ever seeing a market this divided for this long, where they absolutely just have one sector that goes up, and it's technology, seemingly every single day. And that keeps the S&P up, because when you look at the S&P, obviously the tech stocks are all the heaviest weights. If you took the S&P, the tech out of the S&P would be having a terrible year. It would probably look like the IWM. I mean, This is such a divided market. And what you have is people who have been playing for the catch-up trade. I was playing for the catch-up trade a little bit soon. Just throwing in the towel and saying, look, it ain't ever coming. There ain't no point to like sitting here and sitting on these small caps watching Nvidia go up 2% every single day. They're selling small caps. They're selling non-tech stocks, and they're buying tech stocks. They're buying Broadcom. They're buying Nvidia. I mean, what's Nvidia? You don't have to look at it to know that it's up. Yeah, it's up 1%. It just goes up every day. It's like the easiest trade ever. I don't know when it becomes hard, but this thing goes up every day. It went post-split, and I was like, oh, it'll have a little weakness afterwards. Yeah, for like 10 minutes, and then it's a straight back up again. Unbelievable. Micron, MU, the chips, they can't stop buying them. Just gone. I have no idea what turns this around, like what stops this. Maybe it's just buyer exhaustion and seller exhaustion, but right now they are clearly just selling non-tech and buying tech. I don't know what changes that story.
Quad wedge, maybe?
Maybe. We saw the biotech,
I'm just guessing.
ripping.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's a good as turning point as ever, but every time we try to call a turn, you lose money doing that. I mean, what's worked is momentum, and the momentum to the downside on everything that's non-techie, and the momentum to the upside on everything that's techie. And people will point out, well, there's Eli Lilly. But Lilly has been trading with NVIDIA. We've been talking about that relationship for a while. When NVIDIA breaks down, Lilly is going to break down. You know what's going to happen that day? All media people call me, what happened to Lilly? What happened to Lilly? But just look at NVIDIA, they're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it does. This is what's been happening here. So I will predict this today. When NVIDIA has its eventual breakdown, and it will, everything does, Lilly will break down that same day. They have nothing to do with each other fundamentally, but they have everything to do with each other trading right now. Momentum plays.
It looks like China's getting a little bit of a bounce this morning as well. Baidu, Baba, and JD all trading higher pre-market. I'm gonna look for some. I'll look for some specific news out of China.
Just relief rally. It's down every day. I mean, China just seems to go down. Baba makes new lows or trying to make new lows. Baidu's making new lows. It's just been a terrible. Anything I bought contrarian, dead wrong. Anything I bought momentum, dead right. It's not rocket science, folks. That's what's been working.
So you basically just keep doing that until it's broken, right? I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it seems like buying the tech and AI plays, I mean, buying the Apples and Nvidias on dips is what has been working. Or you don't even really need to do that. You could have just been buying the Qs the whole time, the past couple years, really, and you're looking good. But if you start trying to take stabs at some of these small caps and losers, like you said, Dennis, that's how you get burned in this market.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if you're a day trader and you're like, oh, I'm going to buy, IWM and China and all this other stuff, I mean, you're doing it wrong. I don't know, as a long-term investor, that's still to be determined. I have some of this stuff in my long-term portfolio. Obviously, I'm not on margin. I'm not in options, so I can wait. And, it's been wrong, though. So I don't know. Maybe it's never going to work out. Maybe this is going to not be a 10-year underperformance of China. Maybe it's going to be a 20-year, or 30-year, or forever underperformance. It doesn't make any sense because valuation, but I don't know what turns the story around. Maybe it's lower rates. Maybe when we actually start seeing lower rates,
we got good number. We got good information last week.
I know, and they just sold it off anyways. Which I thought that when you got the light CPI and the light PPI, that would be the blast off for small caps, a blast off for solar. I mean, look at solar, Joel. Look at the solar stocks. They had the huge pop, TAN, if you want to look at. Obviously, you can't look at First Solar because First Solar its own animal, even though that started breaking down. But you want to look at ENPH? Had the huge pop up to 142 that day. Down to 124. Just boom, lose 17%. You bought that pop, that CPI, PPI, and this is going to be like the time to get long solar finally because rates might actually go lower faster than we thought. No, you're wrong. We'll punish you for 17% in 2 days. Wow.
Someone in the chat said Taiwan Semi had news. I'm not seeing any news in Pro, but it's up 3% this morning. And just looking at the chart on TSM real quick. In February of this year, so what is that, 4 months ago, Taiwan Semi was not at its all-time highs, was trading below.
I remember thinking about that.
Right, was trading below its level in February 2021. Meanwhile, Nvidia, AMD, and all these stocks are running, and the AI rally had already, been forming in these other stocks. And Taiwan Semi is the company that's actually physically manufacturing these chips for all these companies. And the fact that it was not, I mean, this seems like an obvious buy, and it's up 30-40% since then. So again, just it's interesting looking back on that chart, because I remember I think we did talk about it being like, this is the one stock in the space that isn't at all-time highs, hasn't been ripping. And then of course, you know what it do, it caught up. Oh, Ben Rivers in the chat saying that it's up in TSM is up in its prices. And other people are saying it got a price target raise.
The both happened, I think.
Okay.
Price target raise. And U.S. Steel, by the way, just
we're raising prices all around, whether it's a target.
So here, and just breaking right now, U.S. Steel, I believe this just happened 1 minute ago, so we'll give you the breaking news. Yes, 8:15, they just gave guidance. They're lowering their guidance again, U.S. Steel. So if you believe that deal's not going through, then you're leaning on the fundamentals. We just had Nucor lower guidance. Now you got U.S. Steel lowering guidance. Joel, this is starting to get repetitive here. You can clearly see a theme that the overall economy is, not doing as well. The tech economy is doing fabulous, but the I don't want to call it the real economy, but the nuts and bolts, like actual getting out and doing stuff is slowing. We have seen this happen in Canada, 6-8 months ago. It seems to be happening here now. American Airlines, warning, slowing. You got Nucor last week, which, Nucor, I don't even know it's stuck now. It tried to bounce back, but Nucor's just been a disaster, actually. It's been going down a lot lately. Now you get U.S. Steel warning here, too. So, obviously, there's still a deal on the table, so a potential deal on the table. So, it's maybe not going to get as crushed as bad as if there was no deal on the table. But what does this mean for the overall economy? That you see IWM getting hit, it seems like, every day, not rallying on the PPI. Is it trying to tell us something? Are we actually going to see a slowdown? Is the market smarter than us? This slowdown coming?
Because AI is going to create like 300 million jobs over the
next that's the biggest problem. It's actually, that's what they say, but it's not reality, folks.
I heard AI it on the radio yesterday.
AI, is that what they said on the radio? AI is going to create jobs?
Yeah.
That's the narrative they're trying to send out there. It's a lie, folks. It's a lie. Sorry. AI is actually going to cost a lot of jobs. AI is going to be great for certain companies, though. So obviously that's why the separation is there. I'm going on the rant here, AB. You might have to rein me in, but you can clearly see Broadcom, NVIDIA, Micron, Taiwan Semiconductor. AI is going to be fabulous for those companies. Not going to be as good for 2,000 companies in the IWM. Not going to be as good. Doesn't appear.
Not one company in the IWM is going to benefit from it.
There's going to be a few, but there's going to be a lot more that maybe don't benefit from it. I mean, the separation even in tech, the cloud stocks, Joel. Like that's something in itself, this narrative that AI might compete with cloud that started just a few weeks ago is
we don't need the cloud.
Whoa, we don't need the cloud. We got AI. Who needs the cloud? That's a narrative that's out there now. There is going to be winners and losers continuously here now, and maybe this is just the time. I don't know. Like, if you want to chase here, I don't want to chase NVIDIA, AVGO, but on pullbacks, there's going to be a million people lined up to buy these stocks on pullbacks.
A couple things. Or Joel, sorry, were you going to go?
No, I like Jay Diamond's comments. The good news is that AI robots are going to go crazy on humans and wipe out most of us, leaving the survivors.
Well, that's happening too. That's Skynet. Yeah, we watched Terminator. That's like 30 years away. That's 20 years away. We got some time.
Yeah. We got some time.
Me and Joel may be gone by the time that happens.
I just want
maybe
to
you're
say
screwed.
that McDonald's ended their AI experiment. Now, I don't know what happened in that drive-through.
Can we pull up that bottom right chart? I'm noticing something here on McDonald's. I'm seeing the a golden arches pattern.
Oh, look at that! The golden arches pattern. I see the M.
Yeah, the M. That's got to be. I feel like that's be usually bullish for most other stocks.
It should be. Unfortunately, it's not in this case, though.
If you could put the logo of the company on the stock chart and it fits perfectly, I think that's a bullish indicator. What other stocks? I mean, is Apple's stock going to form an Apple maybe next? We'll see.
It's hard to do that cross for the A. You could do like the.
Yeah. What else could?
That's a great call, though. Well, you maybe kind of see an A in there.
Yeah. So that's bullish. Aaron?
He thinks it's bullish.
Well, I think if you put the golden arches right over that M right there on the top right. I mean, I don't know. It's a sign. Well, we're gonna look back on this and say we should have bought when we should have bought when we got the golden arches, the signal. But
I got a McDonald's story from the weekend there too. Took the kids to McDonald's. Happy Meal and
did
two.
you use the app, Dennis?
What's that?
Yes,
you
Dennis.
use the
People are gonna
app?
yell at you.
Happy Meal and two combos. $34 Canadian.
No way.
$34 for a Happy
Well,
Meal
that's
and
like
two
10
combos.
US dollars.
And it's like $10 US. You're correct, but actually, it's probably about $26 US. But that's still, it's insane. And then you want to know, I'm doing the automated teller, and my kid likes ketchup. I asked for 6 ketchup packets, and as I was checking out, it says you are over the ketchup packet limit. And you have to lower it to 5. I was like, are you kidding me right now, McDonald's? I'm going to spend $34 on 2 combos and a Happy Meal, and your automated teller is going to tell me I can't have 6 ketchups. Like the little packets, because that's how you got to get the little packet and you squeeze it out. The little packet and you squeeze it out. I literally put 6 packets. So McDonald's, any corporate executive, that's the worst thing. That pissed me off so much. So much. I was already mad that I was spending $34, but then it wouldn't give me the extra ketchup package. It wouldn't allow it. It said you are over the ketchup packet limit. So if you have 10 people and you ask for 6 ketchups, you're not getting it. 5 people, not allowed to eat ketchup. McDonald's, you are lost right now. Lost. Figure it out. Don't cheap out and don't. 6 ketchup packets wouldn't allow it. I wish I would have took a screenshot of it. My mouth dropped. That's unbelievable. Just pure stupidity, McDonald's. Pure stupidity. Benzinga, write an article about that. Because McDonald's has to know. That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Not allowed 6 ketchup packets.
When you were in
dumb.
When you were in high school, did you, or maybe junior high, when you went to McDonald's and stuff, did you ever take some of the packets and like place them strategically on the floor? So that
you did so many bad things. You're such a bad kid. How did you get this far in life? You were such a bad kid.
That's not bad. It's just they step on it, and then sometimes it goes on the person.
And slip and fall, and somebody dies because Joel's having fun. They slip on ketchup and they hit their head.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Of course, Joel's having fun. You're a bad little kid. Hey, but you never did stuff like that, did you? Put ketchup packets on the floor and hope somebody slipped on.
I never played pranks or anything like that.
No, Joel's a prankster. He's probably started all these pranks we hear on the floor all the time. These pranks. Joel's probably the ones that started them all. And once he left the floor, there was no more pranks.
Going back to the conversation just about AI taking jobs and whatnot, and there's, a diversity of calls out there, predictions. Some people saying it's going to cost X amount of jobs. Some people saying it's going to add jobs. I don't know what's going to happen, but I will say the one thing that keeps me from buying fully into the camp of, oh my God, this is coming for all of our jobs. And I think I've made this point on the show before, but just historically, we've had those calls before and they've been wrong every time. In the 18s, when the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s was going on, people were saying machines are going to come for all of our jobs. No one's going to be able to, work in the shoe factories anymore, this and that. And the opposite happened. It created more jobs. And then again, in the 1950s, when computers first started coming around, they said all those jobs were going away, and it did create more jobs. So I'm not saying it's not going to be different this time around, because it will be different. But it to me, like, could I see a possibility in which it does create more jobs? I could. So again, I'm not buying into the whole idea. And maybe it's just me being optimistic for my future to say I want to have a job in 10, 15, 20 years. But I do see a possibility to where it does create more jobs. We'll just have to see what that looks like.
It's going to create some different jobs for sure. There'll be some other jobs created. So it's not going to kill all jobs. It'll create some other. I actually asked Twitter this question on the weekend. And Twitter? I asked, the market is telling, I'm never calling it X ever. Market, okay. And you know what? And he's going to change it back to Twitter eventually. That's my prediction. Market is telling us that AI is going to hurt a lot of companies. This is why I tweeted out. I don't know if you can find the tweet, AB. If you go to my Twitter account, you can. We know the winners, like NVIDIA, AVGO, etc. Who are the losers? Real Life Trading Europe, obviously, Jeremy Newsom, another Jeremy Newsom company, tweets back at me some good ones. AI says, or AI. So I said, who are the losers? And he says, or he or she, I'm not sure if it's he or she, human resource management companies. Like, yeah, that's going to be tougher. Travel agencies. Well, that's going to be done by AI for sure. Banking and financial institutions are losers. I was like, yeah. Taxi and ride-hail companies. Well, you hear that here all the time. I think that they're going to be in trouble. Insurance companies, retail stores, journalism and media. It's a little bit scary for Benzinga. Customer service representatives, accounting firms, telemarketing, and telesales companies. That's a pretty darn good list. So good job, Real Life Trading Europe. I'm sure this list is more. So tweet at me today. We know the winners. You can clearly see them in the market. IWM obviously, it seems like it's going to be a loser. But is there other companies specific, that you're like, this is a clear loser in AI? Because I want to short those companies. Because this AI thing is for real, folks, and you're seeing a separation that is for real. And at list, is actually obviously is going to be, some winners still in there. It seems like Abercrombie and Fitch as a retail store is going to find its way. But there's going to be clear losers here. And that's what nobody is talking about. So I want to know, tweet at me today if you know what the losers are.
One more thing for Twitter. I'm sorry, Aaron.
Go ahead.
Or did you want to stay on this subject? Because mine's a little bit of a tangent.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, like reading this list and stuff, and it's this is a specific example, but like one job that's been automated for a while has been pilots and flying planes, but that hasn't led to like a big pilot layoff. In fact, there's a shortage of pilots right now, but the planes have been flying themselves for basically, like 10 plus years. And I guess, you can't really just take the pilot completely out of the cockpit in that situation, whereas some of these jobs, you probably can just take that person out. But I would be surprised from like a regulation government standpoint if companies did start doing mass layoffs across the board and move jobs to automation if there weren't some sort of action there. So again, like I just don't think it's right. I don't think it's imminent, essentially, that everyone's jobs is going to be up for, like unknown if they're going to continue.
What about
to have
construction
jobs.
workers? Lombardo 141 says I mean, you can't get robots to build buildings.
Humanoids change things too. That's a little farther down the road, but humanoids are going to change things too. So, and we have automation and all, I think what it is you're going to lose a lot of, blue collar jobs. You're going to lose more of them. We've lost a lot of blue collar jobs. It's why the gap exists, folks. It's why you see, where you've got 30, 40% of the population really struggling because, look at McDonald's even, taking back to McDonald's example. When I was growing up, there was 10, 12 tellers there. Now there's 6 automated one, and there's 1 real one for when somebody just can't figure it out. There's literally in our local McDonald's,
that's a good
there's
point.
1 teller, 1 real teller. That's 7, 8 minimum wage jobs. Like, what's my kid going to do? These were like what you start at. You go start and you work at McDonald's, when you're like 14, 15 years old. You're figuring out, like those minimum wage jobs. That's what's in really jeopardy here. But there's a lot of people working at those minimum wage jobs that, trying to make a living at, or just, a little bit above. That's scary because we don't have enough of those jobs already, and there's going to be less of those maybe. So, I mean, that's really where it is. The technology, the computer jobs, it's still going to be there. They got to have people to run all that stuff. So education is going to be even more important, than it was even, 25 years ago, or 30 years ago. It's going to be even more important now.
What about lifeguards?
They're humanoid. Jumps in the water. The humanoids and water don't mix. Full going Hasselhoff out there. The Hasselhoff AI robot getting out there. It's showing off its chest. Maybe he's just silent. He's just silent in the background.
Yeah, I know. We're kind of killing it today. It's a slow day.
It's
a slow day. Well, my quick tangent before we actually cover a stock. First thing in the morning, I get up, I look at different stocks. Well, first I look at the S&Ps, overnight action, at the stocks, and then I look for news. And if there was one stock that I thought they would be trading up today, and I put the chart up, you know what stock I thought it was going to be of all the stocks? Crocs.
Crocs. Why Crocs?
Yeah. Why? Because of this. Brooke Shields at the Tony Awards last night, wore yellow Crocs. Nice. Yeah. Yep.
Very
She
nice.
had double toe surgery.
Yeah.
And so that's what she wore. So I thought that the bots would run with that. So, but no, I just wanted to bring that good old Brooke Shields, who was married a long time ago to what,
Well,
Andre Agassi. But there you go, man. There you go. Crocs moving into fashion.
I guess speaking of shoes, this isn't. And I don't know. Actually, this could be a teaching moment for me. So, Golden Goose sneakers. I don't know if you guys know about these. They're Joel. I have a feeling you won't love this business model. So they're like trendy fashion sneakers that when you buy them, they already come at appearing as if they've been worn, like smudged up, like they look like dirty shoes when you buy them, and they're like $500. But that company is set to go public, but I believe it's based in Italy and going public in Milan. So if a company like that is going public in Italy, do they automatically like apply for an ADR in the United States, or how does that work?
Wait a second. They're $350.
Yeah, I told you, and they come like dirt. Like look at those ones.
Somebody's making some money on that.
Yeah. But so when an international company goes public, does it automatically get like an ADR in the United States, or do they have to apply for that? And then
Yeah, they don't get it automatically, but
Okay.
they got to apply for it for sure.
Well, we'll watch out for that. I think Golden Goose is supposed to go public here in the next couple weeks.
Okay, let's go. Let's do a stock.
I know. Have we done any? We did McDonald's and we hated it. Okay.
We did Broadcom. I'll just give you. I mean,
And we loved it because it's going up. We love what's going up and we hate what's going down.
1803.50. 1803.50 pre-market high. That's all I could give you. How about Micron?
Well, same thing. We talked that one. I mean, it's in the good house. So you just got a group of your stocks. Loved and hated. Micron loved. Broadcom loved. Nvidia loved. Non-techie hated. So Micron's in that loved group, making new all-time highs. How do you short stocks making new all-time highs? You're not making money in this market if you're shorting stocks making new all-time highs, because those ones that make new all-time highs seem to continue to make new all-time highs. I don't know how this year ends. We should bring Craig Johnson. He's in the background. Bring him in a minute early here because Craig's gonna have some thoughts here. Talk me off the ledge and just selling all my IWM. That's what I want Craig to do.
All right, without further ado, let's bring on Craig Johnson.
All right, Craig Johnson, CFA, CMT, Managing Director, Chief Market Technician at Piper Sandler. Craig, I know you joined us early here. You are officially in charge of just reeling us in this morning.
All right, perfect. Oh, first, on these Golden Goose shoes, like my wife has a pair of these shoes, and like she told me what she spent on them. I about lost my mind. Okay, so clearly I am not a fan of paying.
He's living my life.
And then on top of it, buy them from a like a wholesale store. I think she got them for far cheaper than the $300 or $500. But again, I was like, seriously, they look used, they look old. It makes no sense to me, but I guess that's fashion, and I'm not fashionable. So I either wear a blue shirt or a white shirt. So I'm boring. But in terms of this market, we got to back up and talk big picture, okay? Because,
Please.
Dennis, I'm not going to really walk you off the ledge because I'm sort of at the ledge, okay?
Oh, crap. He's in the same spot.
When I look at this market, there's clear warning flags out there for me, okay? All this work that we've done at Piper for years, looking at breadth indicators, looking at AD lines at the sector level, looking at all these different pieces. I've got my 26-week new highs indicator, Dennis. It's in a sell position, meaning that it has contracted over 15% from the recent highs. I also look at our 40-week technique, which measures how many stocks are above a simple 40-week moving average. And again, that is also just last week flipped into a sell position.
Do you have those handy, Craig? I know you got a lot going on, and I didn't ask you beforehand, but I was just wondering if you could illustrate it. If not, that's fine too. I just wondered. So sometimes a picture is good.
Let me throw some of these out here for you. Okay?
Yeah, share screen.
Yeah, let's see here. Hang on. Yep. Okay. So let me share my screen. And let's see here, entire screen. We want this one right here. Okay, so you guys can now see my screen?
Yep, we got it pulled up.
Okay, So let me back up to the beginning here so that you can see this whole entire piece of the equation. So as we go through, this is our weekly piece. We literally just published it like within the last hour, so really pretty fresh
Hot
for you.
off the press.
Hot off the press. So one of the other indicators, and I'll hit on this one first because I have it right here. If I just look at this market and I look at how many of our stocks and how many of our industry groups that we're following are in an uptrend or a downtrend, I've got more industry groups in downtrends and uptrends. Okay.
Great.
I don't love that. Our 40-week measures, again, how many of these stocks are in the 40-week measures, how many stocks are above a 40-week moving average. And when I go through and I look at this indicator right here, like I'm starting to roll over. And I am basically at about a 50 and change % reading with our 40-week. This has been a pretty good tool to help us figure out some market timing for things. And as I look at this, it is now flipping over into a sell position. Our new highs indicator gives us buy sell signals, has flipped over too. So we're talking about a market. If you're buying, like Dennis, you said, buying the new highs list, that's fantastic. But there's a lot of things out there that are not working, and you got a larger % of this market that is not working than working at this point in time. And again, that's sort of the bigger challenge for me. I'm not going to ignore these breadth indicators. We've looked at them for a long time. And in fact, when I think about the relative performance of the S&P, when you do have this 40-week slip into a sell signal, you know, your relative performance is not that great in coming weeks. And so my point to people is you got to have a warning flag out. Be careful. Be looking at some of these things that you want to come back and sort of avoid. My key bullet points for people were right here as follows. I look at this divergence. I look at the new highs, the new lows, the 40-week. All these are underperforming. So where do I want to be positioned? Well, selectively in tech, small, mid. I'm sort of into that sort of range. The services, you know, those are weakening on us, but I'm seeing improving trends in some of these industrial names, and I am seeing okay things in financials. But when I go through and wrap this all up, I got a lot more concern today. And you guys know how positive I've been on this market at points in time. Now is not one of them.
So are you, so let's just take that. Obviously there's a lot of weak things here. Would you be a seller of the strong things here too? Like, do you get out of your Nvidias that eventually everything's going to roll over here, or do those stocks just keep continuing to merge? Because it's the tale of two markets. I mean, the Qs are at all-time highs here, seemingly up, you know, every day. And there's, you know, obviously, a dozen stocks that are really responsible for the majority of that. But is this a sign that maybe we're just bubblicious in these stocks, and that the real, you know, economy is trying to tell us something else, Greg?
Okay, so when I look at it, when I look at a chart of NVIDIA, why don't you pull it up on your guys' screen?
Okay.
Yep. We'll get it
And
for
I'll
you.
stop sharing here for a minute. Okay. But when you pull up a chart of NVIDIA, I mean, the stock is up like 140 change % sort of year to date. Okay. I know when I added this into our model portfolio and portfolio of the So Top Us fund that we've got, you know, it was about a 16 fold return that we've had in it. I don't know about you, but I don't need to be overly greedy on a stock that has clearly gone parabolic. Doesn't mean that it's over yet, but everybody's got the same approach out there, which is I am going to wait until things roll over and then I'm going to sell. Oh, and I'm going to be watching this and I'll be able to get out before everybody else does. It really doesn't work that way.
No.
Right? When the selling starts, people don't want to sell. They're like, oh, I'll wait for the next move up, then I'll sell. And then they keep saying that all the way back down. I've already taken profits on the NVIDIA. I said 16 fold is enough. I didn't exit the semiconductor trade. I bought Micron, MU, because that's making a multi-year new high. And I also bought Taiwan Semiconductor. I think those two are also plays. So those are things that I've done. And then what am I seeing that's sort of on the economic side of the world? If I look at some of the lower end sort of retailers, it's very much a bifurcated market. Whether you look at a Dollar Tree, Dollar General, those are starting to roll over. I'm looking also at some of the names in the industrials that are housing related. I'm definitely starting to see rollovers in those charts. I mean, look at Builders First Source as an example. I mean, Fast is another great example too. But look at these charts. These things have already broken, and they're already starting to roll over. I mean, these are supposed to be beneficiaries of the economy, housing, and these other things. AYI would be another one that fits into that category. Take a look at that chart.
So, Craig, if I were a permabull and I wanted to say, well, if the economy is slowing down, then the Fed's going to cut rates and stocks will be fine. But let's assume there's a little bit of a gap there. It takes a while for maybe the Fed to cut or for stocks to, take off because the Fed cuts rates. How long do you think maybe a drawdown in the markets could happen because of that before stocks come back?
Well, that's a very difficult question to answer to put the time frame onto that, okay? Because when the Fed does start to cut, okay, they're not probably cutting because news is great. Okay.
Right.
Historically, when they've been cutting, things are actually not very good. And you're now starting to see around the world, whether it's Europe or Canada in the last week or so, they're now starting to cut. They're saying if things don't improve, we'll continue to keep cutting. That tells me that your bad news is good news to get the rate cuts is now become bad news is potentially bad news. And under that scenario, I think you get the entire market that probably corrects. And how long does that last? I mean, it depends on how quick the Fed comes back to respond due to inflation. It's different this time than it was in 2018, when basically the markets pressured the Fed to cut and the market responded pretty quickly. We didn't really have the inflationary or sticky inflationary pressures that we have today. The Fed may want to wait longer to try to extinguish that inflationary pressures. So I don't think you can put an exact time frame on it. But what I will be watching for is a 2 to 10 spread. Okay, when that finally turns positive is probably when the recession gets announced, and probably also means when you're going to be able to start wading back into things. But I'm not sure that the next 10% higher, the next 10% move in this market is higher. I think it's actually going to be lower, and we probably can come back down and retest 46 to 4,800. Under any of those scenarios, I'm not sure the Nvidias of the world and some of these stocks that have done amazingly well year to date are going to hold up that well.
But I was just going to say, I mean, in terms of like the scope of the drawdown, do you think it'll be, around there 10%, or do you think we could see, I mean, even going back to like 2022 when we had the sell off in a lot of the big tech stocks in Mag 7, I mean, some of those stocks drew down 40, 50%. You look at like Meta's chart or even Nvidia's went, down a lot. Do you think we'll see something similar? Or do you think it'll be a little bit more of a muted downturn?
To the downside, it's hard to always put the exact finger on what that level is going to be completely honest with you. I've been doing this for 50 years. What I will tell you is that when it does, you can start to see things getting bubbly, things starting to get ahead of itself. But in the 2000 period, I wouldn't have guessed that the drawdown would have been as large as it was. In 2007, ahead of the great financial crisis, you could see these divergences happening in the market. You knew something was wrong. You knew it was time to protect capital, but you didn't know that it was going to be a market that was going to get cut in half. You never know how low it's ultimately going to go. This market is so concentrated in so few stocks right now, okay? And you've got so many factors out there. People have been piling into private equity for a long time. And private equity isn't the most liquid vehicle out there. But if there are going to be capital calls or other things, they're going to have to sell what is most liquid in front of them, which is probably going to be public equities. So again, that could magnify the impact to the downside. I just say to people and all your listeners, again, it's fun when the market's going up. It is great, but it's becoming more concentrated. It's becoming narrower. It's a warning flag for me. There's a lot of people I talk to that say, I'm not going to sell anything. I don't want to pay the taxes right now, et cetera, et cetera. And usually that kind of commentary is, probably a little it's probably correct for some people, but for a lot of this, it never hurts to take a profit. And I've sold some of these stocks that have gone parabolic. I did some of that back in March. I'm running a 10% cash in the model, and actually the Top Us fund, and I'm probably looking to go higher than 10% cash.
What do you do, like, if you're selling the and taking the profits? Where am I going? This has been my question. I've been long in video the whole time. I'm like, I don't know what to put it in, though. Like, do I just go to cash? Like, I'm already sitting, and I'm sitting a lot more cash than that, Greg. Me and Joel are a lot more conservative. Maybe it's because we're older. Like, but I don't know. I don't want to go to 100% cash. I mean, where do I go?
Well, if you're gonna take some money out of out of this market, I guess other places that you could go look at. Um, Again, some of these trades will be somewhat similar, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with the Micron. I believe that caught an upgrade today as a place to go to.
But that's up 100% in like the last 3 months too. So it's kind of chasing there too.
It's chasing it a little bit, but I was also going to say you can come in and look at on the running side of the world. You can go out and you can look at Walmart. I mean, you could buy some of these bigger stocks that have some dividends and still participate in the market. That would be definitely a place you could go. I would also say that
Cash.
well, I mean, I like cash. You actually got finally a decent return on cash, better than you had in a long time. So that's not the worst place to go. Take a look at some of these REITs. AVB was kind of interesting.
Ooh, Aaron. Yeah.
Yep, that's one to definitely take a look at.
What's the symbol on that one?
AVB.
Avalon B, AVB.
AVB. Oh, Avalon Bay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
that's certainly a better looking place to go. You could also come back and look at some of these industrials. You could take a look at either 3M. Again, so off the radar for so many people, but look at the longer term setup on that chart. Again,
Yeah.
what I'm saying to
The
people is-
lawsuits, the earplug lawsuits has just held that stock down forever. If they ever can get past that, you know, that's a value stock of all value stocks that ever get past the earplug lawsuit stuff.
Correct. And then you know, if you want something that's trending, I mean, there's nothing wrong with an Ollie's, OLLI. There's nothing wrong with a Tandem, TNDM, or a Spotify, SPOT. I guess what I'm saying is I don't have to come out and just chase Nvidia and keep chasing and chasing and chasing that stock. I mean, it's clearly in sort of bubblish territory, and again, it never hurts to take a profit. And that's what I'm trying to say to people, especially when I have all these indicators doing what they're doing.
I want to ask you about that, Craig. Okay, so you put up there a price target, a year-end price target of, I believe, was it 50-50?
It's still there. Yep.
Okay. In your years, okay, of being in the markets, and I know you've been good because we've had you on COVID, pre-COVID, and whatever. Have you ever seen this much of a divergence in the market performance in your year-end target? And if so, either upside or downside, what took place in the next 6 to 12 months?
This big of a divergence. Yeah, there's been some points. They haven't been happy points when we've had this much of a divergence, to be absolutely honest with you, thinking back throughout time.
How about to the upside? Has this ever happened to you on the upside?
So let me just pull up this chart for you right here. I'm going to share my screen for you. Here we go. Let's see here. Is the option to share the screen?
It should be that present button on the bottom of the
There it is.
screen.
Yep.
Okay. So this is sort of the historical record we've had going back in time. Did we have the market get ahead of us this much in the past? No. I mean, I had to get away from me to the downside in definitely 22. That was a period that we've had to get to the downside, and a little bit in 09 got away from us further to the downside, but we stuck with some of our numbers back then. But at this point in time, I just think this market's is gotten to a very sort of elevated level that I do not want to chase. So the answer to your question is Joel, not really.
Okay. That's an answer. That's an answer for sure. Okay.
What about the
All right.
bonds? Craig, and I know you're
There
more
we
an
go.
equities guy, but what about bonds? I mean, if we think the economy could potentially teeter or, like get worse here, then they're going to have to start cutting rates, and it's got to be good for bonds. Is there a place to buy bonds here right now?
I mean, I guess if you think that the Fed is going to come back and cut rates, I guess you would sort of want to be longer out on the curve, right? Because you'll probably get the most response out there if they're going to cut rates, and the bonds would probably rally. I'm not sure at the shorter end possibly, but again, if you're looking for a place to hide, I just kind of go to the money market fund and I hang out. I know it's not a great answer. It's not a great place to go, but you can end up I sort of have the belief that there's a time to make money and there's a time not to make money. And there's an easy time to make money and there's a hard time to make money. This to me feels like a harder time to make money because everybody's chasing the same handful of stocks. And when that sort of party ends, it's going to be painful. Real painful.
All right, we've
All
been
right.
on the line with Craig Johnson, CFA, CMT, Chief Market Technician at Piper Sandler. Craig, it's always great to catch up with you. Thanks for hopping on PreMarket Prep with us this morning.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You do the same. All right, guys, always fun to catch up with Craig there. We thank Craig for coming in and helping us carry along the show on a slow morning. We do have 8 minutes left. Potentially, we could do some ticker time. I'll check my screener for any more headlines we may have missed in the last few minutes. Disney's trading higher this morning. I'm not quite sure why. Someone said something about Disney and AI in the chat. So
Some
I don't know.
Apple headline with Apple. I don't know if that's from Apple. I never even looked for it, to be honest. I mean, Disney has just been an absolute mess here, but if anything can turn it around, it's an Apple headline. But I don't think I'm coming in here. Let's see what the headline is. Let's find the headline. I'm not having an earthquake, folks. They're grading my driveway right now, so it's crazy outside.
I'm not seeing anything.
They're still doing that driveway?
Forever. I never stop building. I'm trying to single-handedly keep the economy going in Canada. It's like me and like 2 other people. I'm trying to single-handedly keep it going here. My wife tries very hard to keep it going. But yeah, we're trying single-handedly to keep the economy going here in Canada. Never stops.
I don't see a specific headline for Disney and Apple, but I am seeing Disney headlines that Inside Out 2 set the record for most or the second highest animated film opening ever. Dennis, I don't know if your kids watched Inside Out. I've never seen that, but I don't know if that's the catalyst here.
I think we watched it.
It's certainly not bad news to have the Inside Out 2 doing well at the box office, but I doubt it's moving Disney stock this much. But actually, I think this summer has been a very slow summer for movies. If you think back to last year, we had the whole like Oppenheimer and Barbie thing, and people were saying, oh my God, the movie theaters are back because that was like a huge opening weekend. But this summer, there hasn't been as many blockbuster movies that I feel like people are seeing in theaters.
Yeah, I don't see the Apple headline either. Somebody just mentioned it in the chat, and I just assumed that was it because I never even looked any further. But it does appear it's this Inside Out 2. If there's an Apple headline out, let us know. I don't see that out. I don't see that either. I do see everybody talking about Inside Out 2 blowing away their numbers or whatever. So highest animated, what's it say? That and Inside Out 2 sets a global animated record with $295 million opening. So anyways, that appears to be why Disney's up. It got a pretty good showing there.
I mean, it's been sleepy. I mean, it's consolidating down here. It's been in a trading range, really trying to fill the gap here in the upper 99 handle. How low we get? You know what? We did fill the gap. 99.32 was the high on this day. And then the low yesterday, 99.25, up $1.23. Classic gap fill back from February. I think you have these two. I'm looking at early February here. You had some big buying going on February 6th and February 7th, just under $97. I think the big boys maybe stepped it up to under 100. I mean, this doesn't look like a bad setup. I mean, you're going against a 3-month decline, but came down. You waited for the gap fill. This doesn't. I don't know anything about the Inside Out movie, but I don't know. Not a bad looking chart.
It's like the Takeoff Herman's Head. Do you remember the sitcom Herman's Head? They were the originators of that. And you got the 4 voices inside you, and then they're controlling everything. I mean, I did watch the Inside Out movie. I forgot about it like a few years ago with my kids. It's literally a ripoff of Herman's Head. If you remember that was a sitcom with 4 voices that are controlling. They keep going inside the head. That's kind of what it is. I mean, it did well. The movie did well. Typically, Disney's in a horrible downtrend right now. The economy's potentially slowing down. You know, they're a long ways away from being an AI play at this point in time, I'll tell you. And when you see them pop up on a movie, I think you sell the stock.
I got a good one for you. Have you ever had your kids watch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
I don't
You
know
ever
if they
hear that
can, is it?
movie?
Yeah, no, obviously that was a huge when I was a little kid. AB probably hasn't, but
You ever hear that one?
excellent, bogus.
You ever hear that one, AB?
I don't even know. I don't know. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. You don't know. He's too young for that.
Reeves?
Excellent, bogus.
Can I read? You said
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Keanu. Yeah, him.
Yeah.
Canoe. I like that Canoe. I'm gonna call him Canoe forever now.
George Carlin.
This show is off the rails, man. Bring us back in.
You know George Carlin?
I got a stock. I got a beaten down stock. I might go in and buy today, and I've got a catalyst for it. So, Callaway, ticker MODG. This has been a dog of all dogs. The company's got some problems. Took on a lot of debt to buy Topgolf, which hasn't looked like a great investment. But here's my theory, and this might be a little bit of a kind of like a Chris Camillo social arbitrage thing. So Bryson DeChambeau, who just won the U.S. Open, he's basically more of a social media influencer than like not more than, because I mean, he just won the U.S. Open, but he's built a huge following on social media, and he does these YouTube videos. We're competing with Bryson right now. He's a big YouTuber now. But outside of that, YouTube content, and maybe it's just my algorithms, has blown up across YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, like you name it. There's all these clips. Even Ryan Dietrich was sharing golf videos that these like YouTube kids were making the other day. I don't see how that doesn't translate across the board to more sales on the golf side. And so I think at this point, like Callaway's so beaten down here that I'm going to take a stab at it. I'm not going to make like it a full size or a huge position in my portfolio, but I'm coming in and I'm going to buy a little bit today.
Where's the AI in Callaway?
Oh, I'm glad you asked.
He's got something for me. Oh, I'm so glad you asked. He threw that pitch up, and then I hit, and he's like going to strike me out now on this.
I actually think Callaway is like a company that has gotten an AI product or like figured out how to use AI quicker than a lot of other companies while they're all doing it. But a lot of these, and I don't know, maybe this is just some marketing stuff, but Callaway's whole new line of clubs.
Look at this. He was ready to go. He knew I was going to ask that question. He knew it.
Designed with real player data and a revolutionary new AI smart face for sweet spots across the entire face. So they like plugged in all this data, had AI run all these simulations to figure out, over 1 million data points analyzed with our AI smart face and machine learning. So they're designing and manufacturing clubs now using AI. Again, I don't know how much of this is just kind of marketing mumbo jumbo because they know this is what's hot right now versus actually being like a good way to design clubs right now.
If I go buy that club, I'm going to swing itself. I'm going to be a good golfer. I could get talked into this, AB, the AI club, because I'm a terrible golfer. I go buy these AI clubs and it'll just like, swing in my arms for me. Yeah, I like that idea. They'll be like, holy, Denny, you got good. You've been practicing. Just bought these AI clubs, man. They changed my whole game. Maybe.
I just want to tell you that I do what I can to support Callaway Golf. When I play occasionally, and I go to Dunham's and I look for the cheapest pack of a dozen golf balls, right? Because I hit the ball far. I just don't know where it goes, and I don't go look.
That's my problem.
I take a stroke. I drop it, take a stroke. I mean, so I buy Callaway golf, and they're like rocks too. I hit the ball pretty hard, so they just like boom. They bounce pretty good. So I do what I can to support Callaway golf.
There you go. So now I got another reason to buy it because you're buying the balls, and you'll probably lose, enough per round that you got to go buy more the next one, and that'll be good returns.
Maybe we'll play on Wednesday, AB. Maybe we'll play on Wednesday.
All right.
All right.
Do it. I like that.
All right. What else do we got?
Technicals here, Joel?
Two bad days. I would look to see what the catalyst was over the past 2 days. These are the clubs that he uses. I'm surprised it's not getting the
No.
Jordan's.
No.
Oh, he doesn't use these clubs?
He uses his own clubs. Bryson is like
Yeah,
He
a
made
weird,
his own
weird.
clubs.
I just think that the social, basically my thesis is the social media buzz that golf has been getting, particularly among young people recently, it drives
It
me
was
to
kind of a
believe.
COVID play, but I'm looking at this is what you want. If you're buying it, you got some room up to the triple monthly top at the 1670 area. If it clears that, then there's definitely some more room. But it seemed like COVID. It's seasonal, obviously, with golf, and it did. I mean, I golfed a lot during COVID. My nephew who's actually a writer for Benzinga now, was on the golf team, and we were out there all the time. So if it clears the 1670 area, which is a $170 away, it has some room on the upsides. That's the best technicals I could give you. Kind of like the old symbol, ELY, but whatever. They changed
I hate it when they change the symbols because you say Callaway Golf and I automatically go ELY.
ELY. Boom, boom,
And
boom.
ELY. And then
There's
I get
also
ELY
golf.
and it just says, not found in database. And I'm
There's
like,
also golf, the Akushnet.
that's a good ticker symbol. Yeah.
Golf. Yeah, it makes sense,
GOLF.
right? Yeah.
I like
GOL.
that ticker symbol. I'd rather buy that one just because
Wow.
That's one you should buy. Look at that.
Yeah,
thing.
it's better ticker
I'm
symbol.
buying the ketchup.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't mention ketchup. We don't
Buying
want
the
Dennis.
McDonald's
Don't mention
ketchup trade.
ketchup. Don't
Yeah,
mention ketchup.
McDonald's ketchup trade. That's good, actually.
All right. Well, tomorrow it is a
was gonna
T3
get 5 packs.
Tuesday. I forget off the top of my head which trader we're getting from T3, but it will be a fun T3 Tuesday. Hopefully, some more headlines to discuss tomorrow morning. But we made the most out of a slow Monday show, and like you said, Joel, slow earnings week, a few economic data points, but nothing really that market moving. So, we might have to, Dennis, we might have to do some more sports talk tomorrow. We'll see.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do some sports talk on Wednesday morning because I'm either going to be smiling a lot or really,
I
really
thought the game was tonight. The NBA.
No, because they got to go back to Florida, so they put 2 travel days. So it goes back to Florida, back to Edmonton, back to Florida if those games are necessary, and we hope they are. So they put they put the extra travel day in there. So because this is the longest, this is the furthest 2 teams have ever been apart in the NHL, Edmonton to Miami. If you look at the map, it's like the furthest it's ever been. So
yeah, oh yeah,
they put the extra travel day in there. So the game is not till Tuesday night. So I can think about that win and celebrate that win for an extra day. It's kind of nice, actually.
No show Wednesday. Good housekeeping by
so it's Thursday.
But if Joel and I end up golfing, then maybe we'll live stream a few holes from that so that you can come tune in and do live bets, and we'll see where Joel's golf ball goes. But then it is interesting. I was going to say the last thing on the sports, how similar the NBA series and the NHL series are right now. The Celtics, of course, won the first 3 games. The Panthers won the first 3 games. And then the Western team, the team representing the West, came out and just absolutely clobbered them in game 4. So maybe, Dennis, we'll have to watch the basketball game tonight, see how that goes.
Good indicator. Okay.
Yeah. But
all right,
Dennis,
guys, I got to hop. I got to hop here up against the clock. So
Me too.
Everyone, have a great day. Synthetic Tuesday. We'll be back with you tomorrow.